And I want to begin by saying thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to see each one of you. We meet the second and fourth Mondays, and we invite each one of you back for more discussion. So once again, it is my pleasure to welcome each one of you. I appreciate your interest in the city of Calhoun, as does the council. And at this time, if you'll please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, we come to you once again just to say thank you for the many blessings you bestow upon us individually and as a city of Calhoun. We appreciate the opportunity to study your words. May we learn from it and follow your guidance. We also ask that you be with those with special needs in our community and those who are in need of your healing hand. Those families that have recently lost loved ones, please comfort and guide them in this troubling times. We also ask that you be with our troops as they serve their country and provide freedoms that we share even here tonight, the opportunity to meet in a free and open forum. We also ask for your guidance as we move forward, that we may make the decisions that are in the best interest of all those concerned. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In your packet, everybody's been presented with a copy of tonight's proposed agenda. If there are no additions or corrections, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Also in your packet, you have a copy of the minutes of the May 22nd regular council meeting. If there are no additions or corrections.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed. As a reminder, the next meeting of the City Council will be held next Monday. That is June the 19th. And only 1 week apart, the regular work session would be held on Thursday. But since it's only a few days from now, we will dismiss with not have the work session. So the next meeting is next Monday, the 19th. Also, because of the length of the meeting tonight and several things on the agenda, we normally do council comments first meeting of the month, and it really is a good thing because it tells you all the things that go on in the city, and it is a very busy place, but with all the items on the agenda, and with the advisement of the city attorney on this occasion, that we might dispense with the reading of the council comments tonight.
Mayor, if you'll tolerate me for 1 second, I thought Dwight was going to be here with the airport. There's a special event going on this Saturday, June the 17th. It's Wings and Wheels Flying and Car Show at Tom B. David Airport. There'll be free airplane rides for kids ages 8 to 17, 10:30 to 2 p.m., first come, first served. There's going to be a complete display of warbirds, World War II flying airplanes, P-51 Mustangs, I understand, and a lot of interesting things for the youth and the adults in our community. Right now, we're looking at no rain. Hopefully that will stay, but the rain date will be June the 24th. If it does rain, it's $5 for adults, $1 for children, $10 max per vehicle. So if you have an interest, drop by and see that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And if you haven't been, it is a very entertaining and very good event. I think everybody would enjoy it. So I highly encourage your attendance. We'll now have the public hearings. The public will have the opportunity to make pro and con comments with a 10-minute maximum time limit for each side of the matter. With each person speaking having filed a financial disclosure statement 5 days prior to the hearing, if required, and with each person giving their name and address. At this time, I'll ask if any council member has need of a financial disclosure statement.
No, sir. No, sir.
First item is public hearing on an annexation and zoning request. This request is R1. It is for .69 acres. This is located at 224 Shadowwood Drive Southeast. And the request is by Patricia and Moses Lopez. Zoning Advisory Board meeting was held on June the 8th, but there were not enough members present for a quorum, so there was no recommendation concerning that meeting. This time we'll open the public hearing and ask if all the legal notices have been given.
Mayor, all the legal requirements have been met.
Thank you. Like I say, there was no recommendation from the Zoning Advisory Board, so at this time we'll open it up for comments, and it's for 224 Shadowwood Drive. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing and ask for a motion concerning the annexation request.
Motion to approve the annexation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Next item is a motion concerning the zoning request of R1.
Motion to approve the zoning request of R1 for that annexed property.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Next item is a public hearing on an annexation and zoning request of R2. This is for 1.341 acres. It is location on Harmony Drive. It is for Tract 1, parcel number 056A-206. This is .419 acres. Also Tract 2, parcel number 056A-207. This is for .445 acres. Also Tract 3, parcel number 056A-208, and it is for .477 acres. This request is by Hunter Knight. At this time, we will open the public hearing and ask if all the legal requirements have been published and met.
Yes, they have.
This time, we'll open it up for comments. We'll begin with the applicant or their representative.
Mayor and Council, my name is Terry Brumlow. I'm an attorney for Mr. Knight. Pleased to be here today in front of you. Pleased to address you folks. Normally, I come here for somebody coming from out of town. That's great. You know, we get new people wanting to be a part of what we got here. I'm really proud to be here today because this young man represented us on the football field, in the classroom, everywhere, and was exemplary in everything that he did. He went off, got himself educated, and he's come back and he wants to be part of the community. So that makes me proud that he's back here and wants to do this. I've got some pictures. Hunter's family has had some rental units over the past few years, and these will be so that you can see what he and his father have done in the past, and they want to continue that. And we're here today to ask for the annexation as well as the rezoning to R2 so they can build some tri- to quadplex units there on the property. And I think it'll be a big boon for the community, especially for that area. And we would ask for your consideration in this matter and to go ahead and do the annexation and the rezoning. Any questions or comments out here as well as Mr. Knight?
This is a point of curiosity up here. Where is this property that gives us pictures up here?
The location of the ones that you have now? 311 Circle Drive.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Brumlow?
This is a county road, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Will there be a turnaround at the end for trash trucks, school buses, things like that?
I rode down there, there's not really a cul-de-sac, although I think it's shown on the plat.
Uh-huh.
I think it just sort of ends there. So Mr. Knight has indicated, that they would hope to build in such a way. That's why we wanted to show the parking area here, as generous and ample a parking area as we can to get people where they can get in and out down there. And certainly, we'll do whatever we can with building folks to try and make sure that's accomplished.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
This time would ask if anybody else has any questions or comments concerning the request. Once again, it's for R2 on Harmony Drive. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion concerning the annexation.
Motion to approve the annexation as requested.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Next is a motion concerning the zoning request of R2.
Make a motion to approve the zoning as requested as well.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Next item is a public hearing of a zoning request. This request is for PRD. The request is for approximately 8 acres. Property is located parcel number CG 46-106B on Salem Road. The request is by Hand Up Housing of Gordon County. Zoning Advisory Board, once again, on June the 8th, did not have a quorum, so did not make a recommendation. This time, we'll open the public hearing and I'll ask if all the notices and legal requirements have been properly placed and given.
Yes, I have.
This time, we'll begin with comments, and we'll begin with the applicant or the representative.
I've got a bunch of stuff, I'm gonna get rid of some of it, so hope you'll help me and, hopefully you guys out as well, and ladies. Oh, we have about a, 5-minute, presentation between two, folks, is that the rules of the, regulation, or,
Usually give 10 minutes, so we'll, whatever you need.
Matt, you didn't get one of those, somebody, may have got your shoe, oh, I didn't get one.
That's fine. I'm just staff. You like that one, huh? That's right. Lesson learned.
Lady gave us pictures, I can't read them.
About 10 years ago, I had a phone call on Sunday afternoon from a man that I had great deal of respect for. And actually, if you look at the statistics, he would be one of those people that fall in the 1 in 5 in Gordon County that live in poverty. This guy, got out of 4 o'clock in the morning.
No reason to.
He called me about some public service. He wanted me to serve as chairman of the gym theater. As you might guess, his name was Raymond Cooley. I didn't want to say no to Raymond, out of my deep respect for him. But I sure didn't want to say yes. That was going to be a very expensive project, very tough project. It cost be a lot of work. But the only thing I could think of for the moment, I said, Raymond, we don't have time. If I had a coach here, I would consider doing it. I just couldn't tell him no. So, no Raymond, why? Didn't what you do. He probably went to Pearl and said, Pearl, I got us a half a chairman, you gotta get the other half. So I'm sure Pearl got on the phone and called Steve Thomason, and, next thing we know, we served as co-chairs of the gym for 6 years. That was kind of a thankless job, and I might have another one. On January the 17th, I turned 65, and never really had thought about dying. On that day, for some reason, I decided, you probably won't want to die. And I asked myself, would I be happy with my life if I died the next day? And the answer was no. I thought 4 months later, I went into this room for an affordable housing, town hall meeting. At that meeting, I discovered that not only is Georgia, ranked 5th from the bottom in poverty, but this county ranks 93rd in the state. We're not even in the top 50%. We got to looking a little closer and decided that affordable housing was the biggest problem that Calhoun has. Like Raymond, I have a deep love for Calhoun, and I hate to say anything bad about Calhoun. But we've got a problem. It's a problem that's getting worse every day. In August, we made a presentation here.
Hey, Lee, excuse me just a minute. We stream live on YouTube. Could you talk into the mic so the people in the TV audience can?
Is it on? I guess
Yeah.
it is. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
In August, we made a presentation, and the presentation that we have today is pretty much similar. The presentation that day, we wanted to first educate the public about tiny homes. We wanted to propose the adoption of a tiny homes ordinance, and we had a specific plan to consider on the property we have on Salem Road. That was made public, published on the front page of the Calhoun Times following that meeting. At the present time, we have some assets that have been pledged, and part of that pledge includes a building that can be utilized for 20 10 by 30 units. This is a hand-up project. It's not a handout project. These folks that we ran into an elderly lady and a Vietnam vet. These people were paying $250 a week or $900 a month to live in a motel. And that's kind of where we put all of our focus into trying to help these kind of people. Our plan calls for a $425 a month payment, which in many cases it was going to allow these people to put $400 a month back into the economy, whether it's in food or clothing or whatever. We're not going to say our plan is perfect, just as we said on that day back in August, but we asked the city to consider the desperate problem that we have in this city. And since then, we've discovered a little reason why we have this problem. In 1999, the poverty rate in Gordon County was about 9%. In 2002, the city of Calhoun decided that we needed to change the ordinance from 360 square feet to 800 square feet, eliminating the efficiency category. In 2014, the latest statistics that we have, our poverty rate has virtually doubled. 1 in 5 out there are below the poverty level. Some of you may think that these people are casts off, that they're not worthy, that it doesn't matter about them. Well, just remember, not everybody's Raymond King. He pulled himself up from the bootstraps, but there are some people out there that are good people. They just happen to be poor, and I'd like to consider us helping them. Thank you.
At this time, we'll
Hi, my name is Dennis Bowers, and thank you guys for serving our community. That means a lot. And thank you for showing that America is still America by saying the good Lord's Prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. It's nice to know that that's still in our system. I from the newspaper with the tiny home on the front is how I got involved in the tiny homes project. And I'm also a disabled veteran. I know right now that I don't look like there's nothing wrong with me, but I've got several spinal injuries from neck down that I have to have treatments where they burn the nerves to where I can release my muscles and everything. Had a pretty good episode the other day, but I'd given up. I really have before my family moved me here, and I'd already asked my family to just let me go. I couldn't handle the medicines. I was paralyzed for almost 10 years that I laid on a couch. And before then, I had my own successful government contracting business and everything. I even had tiny homes that I'd built in Pinehurst, North Carolina, that we'd used. And again, my wife decided to move us here, get our family closer to our family that's here. So in case we did decide that, that was going to be it, because it was getting hard to where we couldn't afford things. And then luckily, I landed up in all places, Calhoun, Georgia. Never could have told me in a million years that this was where I was going to end up. Some people came together, helped get me some treatments. The local businessmen and women of this area helped me grab myself up and get going again and actually get a small business going. And you've got folks like, Haley, Jim, you've got my next door neighbors who all reach out and help me. And I just really am thankful for Calhoun. And really, I know the pain. I really understand that the way you guys oppose this, but if you really would just take a look at this project. I mean, this is to help people. It really is. This is going to beautify the area. I've been out there. I've heard all the concerns of the mosquitoes, everything, and I've stood out there and just waited for hours, trying to find these problems. And again, Haley has reached out. He's actually trying to help this community. And if you guys would just grab that help and work with him to make this project work and better, again, if there is a problem with something, he's not going to let it go unseen. And I've seen this man reach out several times and help several people. And again, I just want to thank my community, because I would not be where I am right now. I would have already given up. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your comments. At this time, we'll ask for other comments if there's somebody that wants to speak about the issue.
Well, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Bill Thompson. My address is 206 South Wall Street, and I'm the attorney for the Airport Authority for Gordon County. I've worked in that capacity for over 20 years. For some of you that have seen the airport, great strides have been made in the airport over the last 20 years. This airport has come from a very small number of based aircraft, and the most unique thing about this airport, due to a diligent effort on behalf of the Airport Authority itself, this is now inside of one of the largest top 10 airports, counting Hartsfield, in the state of Georgia. Most people do not realize that basic fact. That progress has led us to something else that is happening that is unique. And I don't want to say anything negative about the goal of Mr. Stevens' project. My comments are really a land use issue, which is what we're here about today. The project they propose is noble, but the position of putting it in this location so close to the airport impinges upon that issue. What is taking place right now is a very large project funded largely by your federal government and by the State Department of Transportation. The Aviation Division is going to put approximately $10 million into this airport. They're going to put it in for a safety project. It is a major undertaking that is going to impinge upon the relocation of a stream, a massive expansion of the airport, but what we're in essence putting in is what's called a parallel taxiway for safety. My first comment about land use is, inside of the proposal that's here are water features. And if you think about it just for a minute, you don't think about it, but from an airport, waterfowl and water features are dangerous in and of themselves. To put those two things together might be nice for the aesthetic of it, but it is going to cause severe problems to the airport, the future expansion of the airport, and the rest of it. More importantly, kind of goes down to this. Certain monies are given to the airport every year. In fact, it's a general aviation airport, and that means it receives a certain amount of government entitlement money. In fact, most of that doesn't come from the local government. It comes from other sources. But in addition to getting that money, the airport is required to make certain assurances. And one of those assurances is to try to see that the airport is run in such a way and the airport surroundings are protected in such a way that the aviation use of the airport is not impinged. When you put residential uses within, and this is very close to that 500 feet from the airport operational area, that's exactly what's getting ready to happen. And I think it would be an inappropriate use. The airport authority does not support that use. We believe it would be a hazard to aviation, and therefore we strongly go ahead and recommend the council not to approve that. To show the importance of it, I have two of the airport engineers here with me tonight that we've worked here for many years. If there's any engineering issue, either Mr. Weaver or Ms. Crosby will be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you very much for your consideration.
With that, I'd ask if there are other questions or comments concerning the request. You know, why do they get through, and then we'll get back to you.
Mayor and council members, my name is Carla Payne McMorris, and I am a manager of Payne Farms, which is located across the road from the proposed site, as well as being along with my husband and daughter, we are the closest residents of this. Along with that, my mother is located at the end of our driveway as well. We are opposed to this proposal. Our first concern is safety. I'm concerned for my family's safety. How can I be guaranteed that my daughter, who is left at home alone because she is 15, and to work her livestock and do her chores, my niece and my nephew that is left at the barn, which is located on the other side of our house, how can I be sure of their safety? Our house and our barn is not visible from the road. This making it even more of a safety issue for me. You cannot see people coming, nor can anybody else see them being there. One of our other concerns is safety for our farm. Many of y'all know that farms have dangerous parts to them. We store chemicals, we have equipment, we have livestock. All of this can be dangerous if you do not know what you're doing around them. Directly across from the proposed site is a grazing pasture where we graze cattle, horses, donkeys, and hogs. Now, if any of y'all been around livestock, they make noises all hours of the night. They have smells. So we're concerned, is this a place for a residential area? We're also concerned, are they going to go visit the animals? And if they do, are they going to leave a gate open? Are they going to tear down a fence? If that happens, and our livestock gets on the road, that can be an endangerment to the public. We're also worried about if they want to come visit, what if they go inside the pasture and they get kicked? That can be an endangerment for them. On our farm, we are a produce farm. We also are an agritourism farm. We have many schools come in, and we do classroom tours. We're concerned for their safety as well. Furthermore, we're concerned for our community. I have a petition that we have turned into y'all. There was 128 members of McDaniel Station Road 41 and businesses, workers in the businesses close to us that has concerns with this and is not in favor for it. I'm also concerned for the tenant safety. 3 miles is the closest medical facility. It is the closest drugstore and the closest grocery store. I am aware that there is some transportation that Calhoun has, but this does not run 24/7. If they need to go somewhere, it's either by vehicle or walking. And if they are, In poverty, a lot of them will not have access to a vehicle, so that means walking. It is 1 hour walk time by Google Map to these nearest facilities. Salem Road is a heavily traveled road with transfers, cars, farm equipment. It is no sidewalks for 3 miles. It is not a safe place for people to walk. Once they get off Salem Road, there are 2 other options, is 41, which is extremely dangerous with no shoulders for people to hop off. They'd have to hop sometimes off the bank. And either Salem Road to McDaniel Station to 53, which is not safe as well. Our other concerns with this is the water issue. This backs up water and has for years. There's trees dying. I know I have some submitted pictures for y'all to see. And I'm aware that there is a beaver dam on that. However, the beaver dam is not the only concern. We used to farm this land, and we farmed it for years. There is little to no banks in certain places on this creek. This allowing flooding. Our pumpkins has even went down to the city wreck before in the creek. This is why we quit farming it. It was an issue. My next question is maintenance. So they're going to charge $425 for a unit. This is $8,500 a month. On their petition that they had signed, on number 6, it said that they'd only ask the city or council to maintain the landscaping and grounds. If they're collecting rent, then why should it be the taxpayer's responsibility to pay for this? And if we taxpayers are responsible for paying for this, that walkway path that they have to their garden site is going to flood. It is going to flood. Is the taxpayers going to be responsible for replacing that once it floats down the creek? Our other concern is our property value. Our farm is located on 150 acres of prime industrial land. We have the airport, train tracks, and a bypass, all very close located to us. We also have city sewers on there. How will this affect the markability and desirability of our land for an industry to come in here and to provide jobs, to provide income for our county, and to help the poverty level? Jobs helps poverty level. If this proposal was to go through, would it set a precedent for tiny homes in the city of Calhoun and Gordon County? The existence of tiny homes would decrease the property value for small constructed houses. The city and county budget does not decrease to accommodate these tiny homes. Therefore, the property values would have to be balanced with an increased millage rate, which would essentially raise property tax city and county wide. Is this what we need? Thank you for your
This time I would ask if anybody else has any questions or comments concerning the request. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Millard Payne. First off, I will admit your project. However, the location is not suitable. As we've already discussed, the transportation issues. Like I said, Salem is a very heavily traveled road. And with the people getting into the apartments being in need, the creek is right there. What happens if they step off the bank, fall into the creek? This is an issue, too. And there again, I am still concerned for the safety of my nieces, my nephews, and for the people visiting the farm. And that's basically all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments concerning the request?
Where's Bill? There you are. Couldn't see him in the front row. Thanks for bringing these concerns to us. One of the main reasons we're here is because we love Calhoun. We want to see something done for Calhoun. We certainly wouldn't want to interfere with anything that might be going on in the airport. The issues that I see here tonight certainly start with what kind of town do we want to be? If all we want to be is a town of fast food, dollar stores, and Walmart, hey, we're there. End of case. If we want to look at economic development, we do need to look at safeguarding our airport. But we also need to look at the weakest link in our chain. And I think that's what we talked about in the fact that we have a poverty rate that drags Calhoun way, way down. Not everybody that wants to look at locating to Calhoun gets in the plane and just flies to the airport or drives up here. They look at statistics. And when they look at statistics, they see that Georgia is 5th from the bottom and that we rank in the bottom 50% in the state. Why would you want to locate something upscale here when you could locate somewhere else? We need to fix the weakest link in the chain. We have no problem in dropping the water feature. We thought we were doing something that would be conducive to the neighborhood, that would change the swamp into a pond, but we have no problem with dropping that at all, particularly since we were led to believe the sewer tap might cost us $20,000 when we were here last August, and now we're hearing estimates that would be 2 or 3 times that. So we're certainly looking to save some money, consider the water feature off the table. The whole idea of the zoning that we have required here attempted to take into consideration how do we protect the public interest. We could have applied for R2 zoning here since we're dropping the tiny homes that we were hoping to build besides the efficiencies at each end, since we have not been able to come up with a tiny homes ordinances yet. We understand that that might take some more time, but we could have applied. In fact, I was advised by the building inspector's office to apply for R2 zoning. R2 zoning is traditional apartment zoning. It allows you to use 35% of the property for development. Our plan calls for using 6% of the land. That's why we had the green area, the green belt, and also the walking trails. When I read over PRD, I come up with, but to achieve other goals, including the protection of sensitive environment, historic, aesthetic resources, as well as the provision of site amenities such as parks, open space, and walking trails. I've been in real estate most of my life. Last thing I want to do is to do anything that would be a hindrance to property values. That's why we decided the PRD made more sense. It's 6 times more restrictive than residential R2. We had a couple of concerns I'd like to address specifically in regard to the neighborhood. I would like to point out that front page of the Calhoun Times, August the 13th, gives the location, Salem Road. We were into this project up until about 3 weeks ago before we ever heard the first objection. We've offered to meet with the Paynes on 3 different occasions. We offered to meet with the 2 other industries that are located there. The 3 largest landowners on this road that we could identify, we offered to meet with to show them our plan, and that got nowhere. So we're here tonight. We have had a few questions about location. Let me just say this. As far as getting people fed and people going hungry, the very nucleus of our group, and Vicki Booker is here today. Raise your hand, Vicki. Vicki and I started out feeding the homeless about 4 years ago with leftover biscuits. So we can certainly do that again. Secondly, we are putting money back in these people's pockets that are paying $800, $900, and $1,000. So I don't see how that's necessarily going to be a problem with them going hungry. We are planning on growing food on site. We do have a garden plan. Number 4, there's not an appreciable difference from McConnell Road to a grocery store and our development to a grocery store. Number 5, our vetting process will take all this into consideration. Number 6, our business plan shows a surplus of about $800 a month, and I'm pretty assured for $800 a month we can buy a van if we need to. We also have talked to Gordon County Transit. Dennis can give you a few more details on that, but I think you guys are leaving something out. These people don't necessarily have a Kroger card. We will be the closest site of its project of its kind to North Point's food bank. We'll be also close to the Seventh-day Adventists. I talked to James Collins with North Point. He said once you get these people in one time to sign up for the program, they would be glad to make deliveries. We certainly have volunteers. We have people throughout our community that are looking to volunteer. We know that this is not an ideal site, but it's been out there for right about 9 months now, and we have not had one single person to come up and say they would donate a site for this kind of plan. As far as us being a detriment to the neighborhood, I would like to point out that this is about a $500,000 investment for 20 units. Now, I know the city of Calhoun has spent, in some cases, $30,000 a unit just to renovate a unit. So the reason we're able to do this is because we've had people step forward already. We have a structural steel building. We have land donated. We have one individual that's donated, has signed a $25,000 pledge, which we figured would be the cost of one unit. We have another that has offered to donate $10,000 for the air conditioning, and another that's agreed to do a $10,000 match. We have to present to the city tonight 512 signatures from this community. That did say that the city would chip in a little something, but if they're not going to chip on anything, I guess we'll do it by ourselves. We think we have a good plan. We thought we had a good plan in August. We asked the city to look very closely at our plan or come up with an alternative. We can be a Walmart town, or we can be something better. I would like to say that in addition to the 512 signatures that we collected, I have a letter here from Habitat of Humanity, which I would venture to say knows more about affordable housing than any of us. On behalf of Habitat for Humanity of Gordon County, I am proud to endorse the tiny house project undertaken by Hand Up Housing Incorporated. We are glad to partner with them to create clean, safe, and affordable housing options to those in our community with the greatest need. We believe that the tiny house project complements our efforts to house those living in substandard housing situations. Their qualifications and parameters will catch individuals who, for various reasons, do not qualify as a partner families for Habitat. And too, Bill, I forgot to mention this, we left a 20-acre buffer between our project and the airport, just in case we needed that. Now that we are doing away with the water feature, we might even be able to expand that. If I understand that 500 feet is the magic number, I see no reason that we can't make that work. Again, we ask for your consideration. Thank you.
Once again, I'd ask if there are any other questions or comments concerning the request. Request, once again, is to change the zoning that is currently zoned industrial to PRD zoning. This time we will, if there are no other comments, we will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something real quick?
Sure.
This is dear to my heart because I understand what you're trying to do. I do feel, and we've had the conversation, if there's anyone out there that has a different property, we talked about economic development, and sitting in this seat, I have to see things differently. And so I have to consider the fact that this will impact possibly our expansion of the airport. And so if there's any other property that we could look at to move this, because I understand the need and I understand what y'all are trying to do, but as I've said before, I think the opposition with the airport, just Salem Road, it being 3 miles from Kroger and everything else, if we could get it closer to the city, that would be, in my eyes, it would be better.
Bill, let me ask you, FAA, how are they going to deal with this if this council was to move forward with this request? How would they look at it?
There were a series of meetings that took place today, which I was not a part of, but it's about putting together the project and the expenditure of the monies for the airport family. They come and the airport gets evaluated several times, and it may be small things. Sometimes it's just that tree has to be moved, or whatever may be an impediment to aviation. To the extent that the airport gets trapped into an incompatible use, and that's what residential is, it will have a long-term impact, or maybe even a short-term impact on the ability of the airport to expand. The one good thing about that property is most of it is low and thereby it was. In fact, some of that property was given to the airport authority for exactly that reason, because it's so low it's hard to use. The only people that can use it is the airport. But I guess I will say this. Almost 20 years ago, some of us went to the FAA. The idea was, can we move the airport? We tried very diligently to do that. The reason we did is because they wanted us to move Highway 41 city of Calhoun to pay for all of the condemnation expense, whatever millions of dollars it would cost. We simply cannot afford it. That's the only airport we're ever gonna have, and I'm sorry, people are gonna protect it and expand it.
Well, let me say something also, like Jackie. Haley, hats off to you and your group. The passion is there. It's easily seen. It's palpable. The list of individuals you brought, we know them. We go to church with them. We socialize with them. They're good people. Their hearts are in the right place, and there's certainly needs in our community. We've got another group here in this community that has another opinion, and that's where the government comes into involvement. Because this can't be done without government action. It's going to take a variance. That means government says the protocols that we have in place to do something, we throw that out for one side or the other. I think you're on to something, but when you consider the airport and the possibilities that are there to be the next economic engine after manufacturing in this community, it would almost be irresponsible to do anything to jeopardize that from my vantage point. But that's just an opinion.
And just to piggyback on, I'm talking to you, Haley, about the tiny homes and trying to work on the ordinance and stuff. And this is a little bit different than tiny homes, this tiny apartments and stuff. And I know the situation, you sped up the process on doing what you're doing for another project you got, but the wheels of government are slow on getting some things changed, and so the tiny homes still going to have the guys working on that, trying to figure out how we can implement tiny homes in our community. But with this project, I mean, it's not going to be the right one for me on this from all the angles that I can see it as well.
If there are no other questions or comments, do I have a motion concerning the zoning request?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think Haley wants to speak.
It would certainly seem to me that 20 acres and over 500 feet is, quite up. I don't know all the rules and regulations of the FAA. I know this may not be a question that would be answered tonight, but it just seems like that's 500 feet the magic number, really.
That has to do with the geometry of the airport. Or what flight patterns come in and out, and how it changes the geometry. That's the immediate operations of the planes themselves. But the larger issue, then you get into noise, all kinds of other issues, so it affects the airport beyond 500. 500 is the magic with the geometry. That affects airplanes come in, how airplanes come out, but it's a larger issue.
This is going to be something that will be known 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, or a couple of months, or what, whether or not that buffers apples.
And I guess here's kind of the real answer. Airports all over this country have had lawsuits filed against them as they've been able to be expanded. And one of the main issues is just simply going. And I'll be honest, what we're trying to get into the airport is turbine jet aircraft. The noise level's going to go up. And that's the reason we've always looked at that, about expanding the airport, to try to have it, again, it's a good place, most of it's industrial and the rest of it, it's not going to impact most of that industrial. But it will become, if we're successful, more incompatible for that residential use. And that's why whenever we get money every year, we tell the FAA, we're going to try to protect the airport, and that's one of those incompatible uses. There is no answer, there is no magic, it's 500 feet, it's 1,000 feet, whatever it's going to be, there is no magic number. But again, that gets more into the regulatory part. Now, I've got some experts here, I don't know if they have questions about that. And that's the best answer I can.
Well, as most of you know, we've worked on this project about a year and a half.
Once again, we've closed the public hearing, and with that, the request is from industrial G to a PRD zoning, and with that, do I have a motion? Having no motion, then the request is denied because of no motion. And once again, thank you, everybody, for your questions and concerns for our community, and highly thank you for your interest in the project. Next item is public hearing of a variance request to 500, well, that one will no longer be necessary. Next item is continuance of a March 13th table public hearing for a zoning change request for existing zoning of industrial G to be rezoned to a cell tower site. Mr. Gavinian.
As indicated in the work session with council for Skyway Towers and applicant, we are in the process of contracting with an independent engineering agent to give us an independent survey, and we'll need additional time. And I'm still waiting on the Verizon antenna specs and frequencies. It is expected that we will have an independently produced report available. We are on the shot clock, fortunately, because of the GMA conference. The meeting was moved up from the 26th to next Monday, which puts us within the shot clock deadline of the 22nd. So with the council's permission, I'd ask this matter be continued till the next calendar, as you all will call it, work session. Council for the applicant did not have an objection to that.
Okay, do we need a motion for that?
It hasn't been moved to be taken
Hey,
off.
yeah.
So I guess it
Yeah.
just stays right where it
Okay.
is.
If there's no motion to remove the table, then we will continue till the next meeting.
Okay.
I just asked them to go ahead and record reflect that there is a public announcement right now. We'll also need to run a notice that there will be a public hearing next Monday at 7 o'clock here.
Thank you. Next item is public hearing to a multi-year installment sale agreement, subject to annual renewal, to be entered into between the City of Calhoun and the Georgia Municipal Association relating to the construction of a new police station building in the City of Calhoun. This is regarding a request for financing proposals relating to the construction of a new 14,000 square foot police administration headquarters building for the City of Calhoun, and the request is not to exceed $3.5 million. This time, we'll open the public hearing, and Mr. Peterson, do you have some comments?
The legality part of this, George can answer that, but we've been working on design of this for quite some time with a design team. We've realized that we will need to move from our current location for the police department to, we looked at several options, and the Industrial Development Authority was able to donate property to the city for this project. And we are also looking at around 14,000 square feet, looking to the future, 15, 20 years without hopefully any expansion. But this building will be constructed so that it can be expanded on this footprint, and any expansion will fit directly into the architecture of this police station. Hopefully, we're going to we'll keep this well below the 3.5 million, but anyone who's ever built a house or anything, any type of project like this knows that once you start, there are things that you get into, Bill, that you have to that you have to readjust as you go along. George may have some things to say about the actual financing through the Georgia Municipal Association.
Basically, it's what's called a brick and mortar loan project. GMA will basically, we will do a closing where the Development Authority will transfer the property to the Georgia Municipal Association, who will then secure the bond financing. They will then lease it back to the city, with the city servicing the debt essentially a lease to purchase, but this way we don't have to go out and finance it ourselves for our own bonding. And eventually, once the bond is satisfied, there'll be a transfer. It's almost like a municipal pilot for us. And that also allows us for application of other dollars, for example, SPOS dollars at a later date or such. But right now, that's about the best way that you can finance a small project like this without the city having to tie up its own lending. GMA does that for us, and they go ahead and handle it. Right now, assuming the statute requires one public meeting, this will be our public meeting. Once this public meeting is completed, I'll give with Mr. Thompson to go ahead and complete the development authority has already approved the gratuitous transfer. I've already secured a title opinion and title insurance through separate counsel. We'll set everything up to go ahead and do a closing. Ironically, rather than have Graham Pennell come up here, just so happens that by the time we're ready to close, I'll know tomorrow at which banks. Tomorrow's the end of the bidding. You all will happen to
It'll be bid out to local banks, correct, George?
Well, yes, and that ends tomorrow. I've talked to John Pennell on the phone today because he was talking about trying to set up a time the week around the 26th, which ironically you guys will actually be there, and I will be the only one up here. So I advised Mr. Peterson before this meeting that we will go ahead and arrange for the bond close, the GMA brick and mortar loan bonding closing to go ahead and just take place while everybody GMA and city related is in Savannah at the office of Graham Pennell, instead of them normally having to come up here and fetch signatures and such, if that's okay with y'all. And then by the end of the month, there'll be an electronic wire transfer in. Again, at one point the project got to 3.2. That's when discussing it with bond counsel and also discussing with GMA. You want to go ahead and borrow more than not enough, because you can always return back the extra we don't use into the principal rather than having to find ourselves coming up short. You don't want to bid it out for 3 and then suddenly find out you need 3.5.
Chief Moss, I believe you and your senior officers, as well as Al Edwards representing the council, and Eddie Hall as a community representative, y'all looked at these plans and feel comfortable that they'll meet the needs of the department and take your employees that are at health risk in the old department and put them in a better place?
Yes, sir.
You think it'll meet the needs for the next 10 to 20 years possibly?
I'd say 15 for the minimum. I will also know, Councilman, along those same lines, I don't know if anybody, in having to draft a description for the PRF, technically, we don't even have this much square footage available to the department, and we have 2 facilities several miles apart. This would actually help consolidate both agencies, so it not only saves us the problem of what to do with the old post office and the health concerns there, but also means that the police department no longer be tasked and the city no longer tasked with leasing additional space miles away from the central department.
That would bring
That's one of the
everybody
reasons we're
back
doing
in
it.
one house. Gary?
I didn't even know those numbers until I had to actually look that up, that we're actually building a facility larger and we're leasing less space and it's 7 miles apart.
And with that, it is a public hearing. We would ask if anybody has any questions or comments concerning the proposal.
Motion to untable the.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing no questions or comments, we'll close the hearing and ask for a motion regarding the request for financing proposals
So moved.
relating to the building.
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Next item is a public hearing on the Calhoun City Board of Education's annual operating budget and capital plan. This would be for fiscal year July 1, 2017 through June 30, 2018. This time we'll open the public hearing and Mr. Peterson.
This is for the first one is for the Calhoun City Board of Education, their annual operating budget. And Where did everybody go to?
Okay, and I'm sure everyone would love to hear about educating the children of the city of Calhoun.
Yeah, you can tell.
Don't take offense.
Not right there.
You know how to clear a room.
I know. Well, hopefully they'll go and watch it on the live stream. Our theme this year was exceeding the black and gold standard of excellence, hashtag game on, and our teachers definitely delivered and our students succeeded as well. Our exemplary Board of Education is here tonight. We have several members. Our chairman, Eddie Reeves, and David Scoggins are here with us, along with our Chief Finance Officer, Dee Risley, and we appreciate their dedicated service to our schools. Just a quick overview, because I know everyone's tired of sitting, so we will go rather quickly through the PowerPoint presentation, and we'll make that available for anyone that needs a copy of that. We are educating more than 4,000 students in 2017 with a projected increase over the next few years. We have about 235 certified staff and 167 classified staff, making us one of the largest public employers in the city. We were named the Charter System of the Year last year. Very proud of that achievement, as well as one of the best K-12 school systems in the state, ranked at the 6th best school system. We also are proud of the fact that we do have a National Blue Ribbon School of Excellence in Calhoun High School, which was also named the best high schools in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. And we're a charter system of choice. We presently have an increased enrollment of 800 students since 2007. 23% of our families choose to enroll in Calhoun City Schools as an out-of-district student. We did, a few years ago, make a decision to move towards tuition for those out-of-district students at a nominal fee of $250 a year. We continue to do more with less. As you know, we've endured many budget cuts from the state over the past several years. Since 2003, we've been hit with more than $19 million in state austerity cuts. Our millage rate at 17.985 is one of the lowest in the states, and while we have many challenges, we continue to do a great deal for our students in Calhoun City. Our expenditures are below the state average per student, and our performance is above the state average. As we mentioned, it is one of the lowest per pupil expenditures. The national average is roughly $11,841 to educate students. Our state average at more than $9,000, and Calhoun City Schools does that at approximately $7,000 per student. Here is a listing of counties and city schools surrounding us, and you see our millage rate at 17.985. This is a breakdown of the demographics and total enrollment. You can see that we continually have a steady growth over the past several years. Our enrollment and staffing trends, as I mentioned, we have increased to approximately 800 students. And you can see that breakdown there. And then our charter system of choice, those out-of-district students, there's also a chart that lists those. We have the 7th highest graduation rate in the state, and that graduation rate is 96.28%. We're very proud of that and proud of the increase over the past several years, and look forward to increasing that to 100%, which is our goal. Our funding, instruction, and operations, you can see that 39% of our source of revenue comes from local ad valorem taxes, other local tuition, nurse funds, and interest at 1%, and state QBE and other grants at 60% of our total revenue. The federal title grants in FY 2008, we have those estimates listed for you. And our budget planning, we have definitely had to tackle the health care cost increases. Specifically for our classified, it impacted our general fund at $71,000 per member per month. So as you can see, over the past several years, we've had to look at that and recognize that it was going to be a huge hit for making sure that we were able to provide those health care costs for our employees. This lists our certified costs and the increases over the past several years as well. For FY18 budget planning, you can see the impact on ad valorem tax collections and the impact on eSPLOS collections due to the removal of the sales tax from auto sales. That did impact our FY18 budget. Also, a list of austerity reductions. We mentioned the hits that we've endured since 2003, and there's a breakdown there. So roughly 19 million in cuts. This has our local fair share history for you as well, and also the impact with advanced degrees. We're very proud of our teachers for furthering their education, but we also have to prepare for those salary increases at roughly $84,000 for advanced degrees. So the impact of step increase and the 2% that the governor has proposed as far as salary increase for our teachers, which are very deserving. They have not had an increase in the overall state salary schedule for a number of years. So we're very appreciative that the governor did see that it was time to look at that. We did have to prepare for that in this particular budget for the impact of that step increase and 2% increase, which totaled approximately $543,000. So that was an impact in this overall budget as well. We also have challenges with TRS increases. The increase from 14.27% to 16.81% is an impact of $455,000. So those are some of the big ticket items as far as the impact on our overall budget. While we do have many needs for staffing, we haven't increased our staff to really keep up with the growth that we've had, but we have to prioritize each year. These are the positions that are needed to move forward, specifically in our younger grades, our ESS pre-K teacher, a counselor, a kindercola ESS paraprofessional, and regular paraprofessional for our kindercola program. And that kindercola program is a kindergarten pilot program where we're going to be offering a hybrid opportunity for online learning, which is exciting because we will have 5-year-olds doing some of their school day online. So we're really excited to try that out. We also are looking at a halftime language academy paraprofessional added to this year's budget. This is our overall operating budget that you have a copy of. It's hard to see it on the slide. This was what was published in our newspaper to give all of our citizens an overview of our general fund budget for FY18. The revenue side, you can see that local and other sources, 40%, are from local taxes, interest on bank accounts, nursing services, and tuition and other, and then our state sources, a breakdown there for you as well. So, of course, the majority of our budget goes to support our instruction and what we do each and every day to make sure that we're providing the best education possible for our students. Also, some funding information from construction, a breakdown of eSPLOS collections are listed there for you as well. Just an overview, we continue to look at what we do each and every day, which is how we prioritize what we're doing with our budget. So we look first at student achievement, professional learning for our staff, organizational effectiveness, and engaging our community, which has been so supportive. Just to highlight a few of our academic, arts, and athletics excellence awards in the past year. 10 members of the class of 2017 were AP scholars, and a breakdown of some other awards in academics are listed there. We're also very proud of the accomplishments at our primary and elementary school, who have gone on to be a world finalist, earning second place behind Poland last year, and this year we also sent a 5th grade team to the world competition, and they did extremely well also. We continue to provide advanced opportunities for our middle school students moving into the high school, and we're very proud of our CHS debaters who were named Academic All-Americans. We're very proud of that accomplishments. In the arts, the Calhoun Performing Arts Center will open soon in a newly renovated Civic Auditorium building. We're very appreciative of the City of Calhoun for supporting us with that project, and hopefully you can come and see the auditorium in the renovated space soon. We hope to have our kickoff for the pre-planning assembly, back-to-school assembly, the first part of August. We'll send you an invitation. That will be the unveiling of our Calhoun Performing Arts Center. We're moving right along with that project. Just a few accolades from the arts. Several of our students have won Region 1 Act championships, state championships over the past few years, and also recognized for superior ratings in band competitions. The majorettes are also 2-time region, 2-time state, and 2-time national title winners. excellence in athletics, Calhoun High School has won 18 state championship titles since 2007 with additional individual state wins. We have a wrestler back in the back. You want to wave at us? I'm very proud of the accomplishments of our students. So this has been the diamond decade for Calhoun City Schools. Also, we recently celebrated the girls golf team who came home winning their third consecutive state championship title. The class of 2017 was offered more than $2 million in scholarships. Proud of our graduates and thankful for our community's support. I mentioned the Online Learning Academy for kindergarten. We've been successful with our middle and high school COLA. We will open a new building that will house the COLA and STEM lab coming soon in just a few months. So our Calhoun College and Career Academy, which is housed at the middle high school campus, continues to excel with lots of opportunities for our students. We've added some different programs, just scrolling through some of those rather quickly. Those will be listed in your PowerPoint, and we'll have that available for anyone who would like to look specifically at those different programs. So coming soon, our STEMworks Engineering Learning Lab will open along with a COLA. We continue to provide the safest school environments possible. East Blast makes a difference, and thank you, Calhoun, for helping us build those safer facilities. We continue to use those SPLOST funds wisely, and we are what we repeatedly do, so excellence definitely has become a habit for us. And we appreciate the city's support and all that you do to help us educate our students. Any questions about the budget or any of the information that we've provided?
Yeah, I want to go over a couple of things.
Okay.
Seriously, and it amazes me when I was on the school board, and I'll say it every year. I mean, I circled this so I could go back to them, but one of the lowest per pupil expenditures in the state. I mean, in the community, it's amazing. I mean, even locally, $1,200 difference. I just look at going down a class, go down a hallway, $1,200 per student, 20 kids. I mean, that's $24,000. $24,000. That's big money. I mean, it's amazing what you're able to do per pupil.
Well, and I know that it's very difficult to get accurate figures because over the years we've had school districts that we're compared to that had furlough days, but we had already increased our days and we're operating at 180 student days, but we were still one of the lowest percentage per pupil expenditure. So again, that goes as a testament to the hard work that our teachers do each and every day.
And then the graduation rate. I mean, that's amazing too, and it's been a steadfast thing that we've had. And I know with past chairman Ed Moyer, I mean, when he was at Redmond, he would tell people who weren't from our community, and when he was also in Atlanta, and they were just blown away. And so, I mean, it's just something that isn't the norm, but it is the norm for us. And so it's just, I like to make sure that stands out again. I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, we're proud of that, but we won't stop until we have 100%. That's when we'll really be proud of what we've been able to provide for our students when we keep them in school.
Is there any plans on the tuition? And that's, I mean, I saw a figure, $189,000. I'm not sure if that was all of it, but, you know, it's made a dent on helping other things that you have.
It has. It's been challenging to collect that. There are some administrative costs that go with that as far as making sure that we tackle that, but for the most part, our staff has done a great job to make sure that we're collecting that and seeing it as, you know, definitely money well spent from our parents, we think.
Those are the main things I wanted to say. Great job.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like your new building by the football field is coming along very well. What are your plans there again?
It will house our Calhoun Online Learning Academy. It will be a community center as well. And then our STEM engineering lab will be sort of a maker space for the community. Community can come in and utilize that space. But Greg Green is the instructor. He's been working with pre-K students all the way through 12th grade. So it will be an opportunity for all of our students to experience that hands-on learning lab for engineering. He just finished up a camp this past week where he worked with kindergarten through 4th grades during one session and then 6th, 7th, and 8th in the second session, and just blown away with what they were able to do as far as coding, robotics, really providing some innovative science, technology, engineering, mathematics for our students. So very excited about that program and what we're going to be able to do and tie it to the needs of our community through our College and Career Academy focus, which is looking at our largest employers, our manufacturing, making sure that students have that background and that knowledge that they can possibly come and give back to the Calhoun-Gordon County community. So we're really excited about that.
You look for that to be completed in the fall.
It should be completed. We're hoping August. Dee, do you have an updated time? But we've got a contingency plan to look at what we need to do if it's not ready the first week of school. But we've had a lot of rain this summer, so the auditorium is on schedule because they've been under a roof, but we still don't have a roof on top of the building. So rain has kept us a little delayed.
How about the auditorium? How long is that?
The auditorium, knock on wood, will be open for our back-to-school assembly the first part of August. So, real excited about that.
I have a question about the language lab.
Okay.
Is it going to be foreign language? I mean, is it going to be for ESOL, or
It
is it
is.
just a little bit
It
of
is.
everything?
It is. We hope to expand that, but it's another pilot project that we're looking at for our students. So, I'm really excited about that.
Thank you very much, as always, and thank the school board. We're very proud of our school system. A high graduation rate is important to every community, and being ranked that high, I know we're all aware that approximately 80% of the people that are in our jails do not have a high school education. But at the same time, when in looking at some of the numbers, I think a high school education on an average returns about $10,000 more to the individual that has one over somebody that doesn't. It increases home ownership. It increases what they buy, their effect on the community in a lot of positive ways. So we all say thank you for the job that the school does and the interest that we all have in it. So.
If I could make one more comment. I know Roberta's here, and we did hear earlier about the poverty needs in our community. There's poverty in our schools, and I failed to mention we have more than a 62% economically disadvantaged population. So we do have those students that come to us that have great needs, and housing is a need as well, and I know that you know that, and so hopefully we'll find some solutions. And I know that property may not have been the right place, but hopefully we will address those needs moving forward too, and we'll try to educate and support and do whatever we can, but we appreciate Roberta and her support of our students as well.
Let me ask a question on that brought this to mind. When you say that, I'm sure you're talking free and reduced lunches.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know we went through a recession that was almost the magnitude of the Depression, if not. Are you coming out of it at all? Are the statistics going up? They staying the same? Or are we going down? Where are we there? When you look at unemployment, we're getting better.
We still have very challenging situations for our students. Now that fluctuates as far as free and reduced lunch, and it's really hard to know if that's the actual number because at middle school, high school, because of pride or whatever, they don't fill out the paperwork. So we do have some students that we know are struggling at the middle and high school level that, it's hard to identify those students. So the need is very great, but as far as, knowing for sure what that percentage is, we know that what we've identified is ranging from 58 to 62%.
And you bring that up, you also, I seen the advertisement at some of the complexes and stuff, but you have the food program for the summertime too, so you're trying to continue to meet those needs of the kids. I know it goes to more than just the kids, but I mean, that's the focus, the kids to still get what they need.
That's been a phenomenal program for our community. I know my daughter's working that program right now, and she's able to see the need, and I think it's great that we do allow some of our students to work and actually get out into the community and see that, we're very blessed, and we have a lot of families that are very fortunate, but a lot that are less fortunate. So
Where are we getting that funding from to provide the food?
the federal government. It's a federal grant. And Kim Kiker does an amazing job. She's done a great job for us to build our program and give back to our schools and community through the revenues that she's been able to generate through our food service program.
She turned the whole nutritional program
She turned it around. Matt remembers when we were majorly in the red through food service. So, and Al remembers that as well from their previous school board experience. But I'm very proud of Kim Kiker and her hard work.
Once again, thank you.
Thank you.
It is a public hearing, and I'd ask if anybody has any questions or comments concerning the.
The one thing I wanted to address to David is, our property numbers are not going with the economy.
Yeah.
We were looking before at 26% of our students in the whole of the county being, in poverty situation, and we are up almost to 50%.
Right.
So no, our children are not.
Are you going to be able to trend that, Roberta, and keep tabs on it? I was going to report tonight that Gordon County went to 4.7%. That's the lowest we've had since the recession began. So it's going to be interesting to track the poverty and see if it has a spike up or not.
Our trend from the state has us in the red because it is so bad.
Okay.
That is one of our tasks as community surveying. That's a big issue, is poverty. And that's above one, or any below 150% of the federal guidelines. And we're almost at 50% of our children are living in that.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? If there are none, we'll close the public hearing and remind everybody that the budget will be eligible for adoption next Monday on June the 19th. Next item is a public hearing on the City of Calhoun's annual operating budget and capital plan for fiscal year July 1, 2017 through June 30, 2018. This time we'll open the public hearing and turn it over to Mr. Peterson.
They're still clearing out, Mayor. Michelle got a few.
Michelle, you don't want to hear our stuff?
We thought Dr. Taylor could clear it.
I believe parliamentary procedure means if they're going to haggle everyone else, they have to remain.
I want to help her out of the room.
Okay, we'll start the public hearing. A couple of notes before we start into the slide presentation. There will be no millage rate increase within this budget. The same. If you have the same property tax assessment, you'll have the same property tax bill. Also, the 2017-18 budget, there are no water or sewer rate increases as there were for the last 3 years, where we had a 3% increase to pay for debt and fund certain rehab projects. Those trains are doing overtime tonight for some reason. And we've also started realigning the cost of health care between the city and our employees. The single coverage will be 12%, and the family coverage will be 17%. This is up from 7% for the single and up from 13.5% for the family rate. This budget also includes a 2.5% increase in salaries, and department heads will adjust depending on merit. New employees, we have one part-time employee be going to full-time in the recreation department due to additional workload associated with the new fields and our expansion of our programs. And we'll have one new electrical employee to meet safety requirements for line crews. So we'll begin the presentation with the general fund revenues. The big five are excise taxes, which includes insurance premium, business license, alcohol, and several others. Local option sales tax, the franchise, which includes transfers from utilities and property taxes, and rents and royalties. The second slide continues off the top big five. We do have over 100 revenue line items, and most of these are very similar to what they were during this 16-17 fiscal year. Number three, one of the reasons Calhoun has the lowest property tax in the state is due to our local option sales tax, our special purpose local option sales tax, and our utilities. And you can see moving out of the recession in 2013 to date, we are very strong in utilities, but sales tax has seen a drop, and I'm not quite sure because state collections have certainly increased. Number 4, looking back to the 2008 budget, the city had a lot going on when the recession was at its worst by 2011. We then began working our way out, but we are still $800,000 less in revenues than 2008. One of the things I'm most proud of, and I know this council is, that Calhoun never missed a beat through these very lean years, and while we had much less money to work with, our service levels did not suffer. The next one, I mentioned earlier our millage rate. The 1.98 millage rate certainly is the lowest in the state on a comparison of cities between 10 and 20,000. And while this is a point of operational pride, every year I ask for an increase in property taxes, but every year my council says, work a little harder, Peterson, so we do. But there again, while we have much less money to work with than in past years, our service levels did not suffer. And the next one, I mentioned earlier our millage rate. Just to hammer number 6, just to hammer this home, Calhoun's population is around 16,000 something. When we compare Calhoun with all the cities in Georgia, like I said, between 10 and 20,000, the average millage rate is around 8. We're less than 2. A $200,000 home in Calhoun pays about $158 in property taxes per year. And if you lived in these other 39 cities, similar cities to Calhoun with similar populations, you'd be paying on an average of around $630 a year. The money you save in Calhoun property tax can fill up your car with gasoline an extra 14 times a year. Number 7 and number 8, not only homeowners, but small businesses and large industries also benefit from Calhoun's low millage rate. And when we, as Dr. Taylor mentioned, when we include the Calhoun school system compared to other independent school systems in Northwest Georgia, we are substantially lower in property taxes than most when we look at everything considered. Number 10, the digest. This one hurts. Looking at the 2008 digest, our 1.98 mills brought in $1.7 million in property tax. In 2016, the digest was $120 million less than 2008, and our 1.98 millage rate will bring in about $1.4 million, $300,000 less than 2008. This has been, it's taken some work to be able to pull this off, but we've been able to do it. The big kicker here is due to the game we have to play, and all cities play it, is the Freeport, and right now we're for industry, we're at 80%. Shifting to expenses on slide number 11, 75% of the general fund budget goes toward police, fire, and public works. That gets the majority of the general fund. The next one, the slight increase is mainly due to health insurance and salary increases in this year's budget. Next one, you might notice community services dropped. This is due to transferring our employees to the Dalton Regional Library System. It's the same numbers as last year, only the county will pay Dalton directly instead of paying the city and that type of transfer. The next one, number 14, I hope I'm with it and hope Paul's with me. Recreation added 1 new employee, like I said, due to the extra fields and workload, but we reduced the transfer to Fields Ferry Golf by $68,000. We're raising the rates on golf $2 a round and $1 for a cart fee. Transfers were reduced out of administration for Project 316, and solid waste increased due to actual recycling numbers. So we have real numbers in solid waste now. Number 15, our general debt. This is the year, finally, that Fields Ferry will be paid off. And this will save us $375,000 a year from now on. This has been this has been a long haul since 1992, I believe, but this is the year, and it'll be paid off.
It'll be paid off in December, is that correct?
Well, we make a principal payment, I believe, interest payment in the fall and a principal payment in the spring.
Okay.
So next time we look at this budget, we won't be talking about debt for the golf course. The next one, we have 25,000 people working in Gordon County. The Department of Labor doesn't give an actual breakdown, but I would guess that at least 75 to 80% of those 25,000 people work within the city of Calhoun. And as David mentioned earlier, our actual April unemployment rate is 4.7%. So, man alive, we've come a long way since 2010 when we were bumping close to 14%. Switching to utilities, as you can see, $37,600,000, or 54% of our utility budget, revolves around Calhoun being in the electric business. Water, sewer, telecom, and admin make up the remaining budgets. The next one, you can see a general reduction in all utilities from the current year budget. Some of these reductions are due to the 2005 SPLOST and GFA loan projects being completed. And the next one, this trend also occurred in telecom and utility admin. Slide number 20, in 2016, we had a severe drought, which increased the residential uses of water. Again, our industries, which used to use enormous amounts of water, have changed processes. The next one interesting thing about wastewater in this slide is the dramatic reduction in gallons treated. You'll also notice the limited amount of rainfall in 2016. This is a pretty good indication that we still have miles to go before our infiltration is put to bed. But projects like the Pisgah Sewer Basin will certainly have an impact on that. And as the years go forward and we continue these rehab projects for our sewer system, which 80, 90 years old, we will finally, I think we'll conquer that to a large extent in the years ahead.
Eddie, we might mention that downtown Wall Street's going to be closed this week because of that Pisgah.
It is. People who are driving around Calhoun can see the construction going on now for the Pisgah project, but although it's an inconvenience, the time was way past for this project, and it's certainly a very, very positive project for Calhoun sewer system. The next one, these trains are working overtime.
I think it's just sitting out there revving it.
They're just going at it. Evidently. 10 years ago, our total sales of electricity for the year was 352 million kilowatt hours. And as you can see today, the number increased by 85,000 kilowatt hours. So electricity and water is our go-to as far as Calhoun being able to continue this 1.9 millage rate. Number 23, also 10 years ago, our electric customer base, residential used 11% of the total electricity sold. Today that's 10%. Commercial usage 10 years ago was 25% compared to 17%. And industrial 10 years ago was 64%, and today it's 73%. So industry plays the big role in our not only electricity but our water and our sewer. Under utility debt, Calhoun's water and sewer debt for projects is $2.6 million per year, and this does not include production and distribution provided by 85 employees dedicated to 24-hour service, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, serving 21,000 water customers in Calhoun and Gordon County and providing almost 140 miles of sewer lines and a sewer plant capable of treating 16 million gallons a day. So to wrap it up, the general fund budget is $13,537,000. That's a decrease of $110,000 from the current year. Golf is $840,000. That's an increase of $18,000. Recreation is $1,172,000. That's an increase of $12,000. Our solid waste is $900,000. That's an increase of $129,000. But as I mentioned earlier, this provides a full accounting of our recycling. But remember, all of these budgets do balance revenues versus expenses. Our water and sewer, $8,163,000. That's a decrease of almost $1.5 million. The electric, $37,631,000. That's a decrease of $1.2 million. Our telecom, $1,093,000. That's a decrease of $121,000. Our utility interfund, $3.1 million. That's a decrease of $20,000. So our total budget for all of our funds for this proposed budget is $66,459,000, and that's a decrease of $2.8 million from the current year that we're in now. So a lot of people have worked very hard on this budget, and I want to thank all the department heads. I want to thank the mayor and council for their time and everyone involved. It's a good, solid budget. It's a good, solid austerity budget, but also it will provide the kind of service levels that Calhoun citizens expect and will be provided. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. And once again, it is a public hearing, and we'll ask if there are any questions or comments concerning the slide presentation.
Mr. Mayor, let me make a comment. Again, thanks to managers, Eddie, Paul, and your staffs for going above and beyond. This has been a budget year where we did ask you to go in and do the tough things. That's never easy to do, but you did it. And I, for one, am grateful for your efforts and energies.
I remember when we had the $457,000 deficit, and y'all said, fix it. So we worked hard and we fixed it.
I think we found a compromise that should work well across the board.
It will, it will.
Any other questions or comments? And with that, we'll close the public hearing and remind everybody that the budget will be eligible for adoption on June the 19th. Moving forward, there is no old business. Under new business, we have the first reading of an annexation and zoning request. This request is of C2. It's for 1.49 acres. Location is 290 Thames Road. Request is by Brian Young. Zoning Advisory Board meeting is scheduled for June the 6th, and we have an opportunity, Mr. Gavinian, to move that to June 13th, if that's the council's desire.
You mean July?
July.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we need to find out, because given the particular difficulties in the summer months, and availability, there's not much point in, for example, last week, I came rushing back from Auburn to preside the meeting. Poor Paul, had to leave his family enjoying a beach trip. I'm assuming they came back with you.
They did, yeah.
So now they are very vengeful against him for it. But, if there are not going to be enough people available already in advance on the 6th, because that's a traditional holiday week, it would make better sense to do it on.
Motion to move to July the 13th.
Might remind everybody also that the council meeting has been put off to the 17th. So that would work in that time frame as well. Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Next item is first reading of zoning change request from R2 to C2. This is for 1.815 acres. This is located C11-071 and C11-076. This is for the Bagwell family. Zoning Advisory Board is scheduled to meet July the 13th. Public hearing set for July the 17th. Next item is first reading of an annexation and zoning request of R1B. It is for .46 acres. Location is 193 Green Meadow Lane, northeast, and it is by Charles Buchanan. Zoning Advisory Board meeting is scheduled for July the 6th, 13th, public hearing for July the 17th. Also have the first reading of an annexation and zoning request of C2. This is for 18.92 acres at a location of GC 56-229. This is Irwin Street and South Wall Street. Request is by Butler Properties and Development, LLC. Zoning Advisory Board meeting is July the 13th. Public hearing scheduled for July the 17th. First reading of an annexation and zoning request of C2. This is for .46 acres. Location of GC 42-156. This is at the corner of Irwin Street and South Wall Street, and it is by Lidl U.S. Operations, LLC. Zoning Advisory Board scheduled for July the 13th. Public hearing on July the 17th. Also have the first reading of an ordinance to amend, strike, or change certain portions of the City of Calhoun Code of Ethics, Part 2, Chapter 2, Article 7, eligible for a public hearing on July the 17th. Mr. Gavinian.
It is there, it is rather a different change in departure from what we already had. As I indicated in the email to everyone, I did take the time to look at GMA materials, also the Vincent Institute study from Gwinnett County when they did their ordinance, and open for any suggestions. It was initially up for first reading today, but open to any and all comments at any time, any suggestions. Any discussions on available anytime anybody has anything I need to clarify.
Are we mandated to do the second reading on the 17th? If we are, I'll make a motion to table it for further discussion with the council. Well, 17th is what it says there, that's all I was going by.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that, I was thinking second reading, because we can even have third reading.
Yeah.
You know, we're not bound, we're bound to have at least two readings, we can have multiple readings.
Yeah, this is gonna be an in-depth project, we wanna make sure we get it right. Thank you for bringing it to us.
No problem. Thank you for your patience and letting me do it in a comprehensive way.
Once again, eligible for a public hearing on July the 17th. We have a request by Chota Baptist Church to block the road beginning at the mailbox by the front steps of the church, College Circle, to the stop sign behind the church at Short North Wall Street. This request would be from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. It would be on Sunday, July the 16th through Friday, July the 21st, and it is for Vacation Bible School. And with that, do I have a motion to grant the request?
Motion to grant that request. We've done it several years. I think every year since I've been here, we've done that. And it may be an inconvenience for some of the residents of that street, but they do have adequate access from the College Street side, so I don't think they complain about it. And so anyway, I make the motion we approve it.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Item number H is a submission of fiscal year 2017 third quarter budget amendments and financial statements. Mr. Peterson.
We are required to have a balanced budget in all of our funds, and so usually twice a year we'll go in and look at things, and this gets us through the third quarter, as you mentioned, through March to balance. It's the great movement game, taking monies here and there and just making things balance, and we've done that, and went over this in fair detail today at our noon session. So and everybody's got a copy of this, and there's nothing really out of the ordinary on this one and in past third quarter balancing of all of our funds.
You need a motion on that?
Yes, I do.
Motion to approve.
And that's both the budget amendments and the financial statements?
Absolutely.
All right, I have a motion and a second on the two items as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Next item is regarding a contract between the City of Calhoun and Greg Sims, who would be the architect for the provision of professional services pertaining to the construction of a new police station and vehicle service building. This is to be located at the corner of McDaniel Station Road and Recreation Road in Calhoun. So do I have a motion regarding the contract?
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Next item is the Utility Division charge-off request. This is for unpaid debts, and it would be for fiscal year 2016. Mr. Peterson.
We do this each year. There are some debts you just can't get to. But we've changed things over the years to, as you can see over the years, we've been reducing that, and it's due mainly to the very, very hard work of our staff in billing and finance to bring these numbers down, and the quality of finding out, who is a good person to have a meter and who's not, so to speak. Talking with some people earlier today, it seems like one of our biggest problems, and it's really hard to get your hands around, is renters who maybe run off on you, and then that person won't come back, but they may send their wife or their brother or their child or something, and it's really hard to show. But saying all that, these numbers continue to drop each year, and when you look at our total billing for the fiscal year, $56 million and something, and you get down to $108 million of charge-off, that's some group has done a lot of work on this. So I would recommend this.
And certainly we want to say thank you to all the people that worked very hard on this. This is the lowest percentage that I remember at any time. It's 1/19th of 1%. And the bill services to be charged off. Those bill services, $56,171,000. So our thanks goes to the department, Sierra, Heather, and Tasha for their hard work in doing this. And with that, do I have a motion to approve the charge-off list?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? First reading of beer and wine package license request by Nabil Fafil, 188 Highway 53, LLC, at a location of 943 Highway 53 Southeast. The proposed store manager will be named prior to the public hearing, which is scheduled for July the 17th. Also have the first reading for amendments to the general government fee schedule resolution. The changes include increases to building permit fees, grading permit fees, soil and sedimentation fees, HVAC permit fees, residential plumbing fees, fire inspection fees, electrical inspection fees, cemetery fees, an addition of animal spray neuter certificate fee. This is about a 10% increase in these. They have not been increased since, I believe, 2006. And it also includes the cemetery spaces going from $450 to $500 per space. And that, once again, this is the first reading of the amendments.
Mayor, I might mention that Paul and Sharon contacted all of our sister cities in northwest Georgia, and we're certainly, even with these increases, within the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, and below it a lot.
And thank you for that. Under work reports, Mr. Peterson.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Gavinian, need for executive session?
At the danger of having things thrown at me for extending the length of this meeting, yes, there is something that came up since, they came up and after work session discussing it with the
How,
possible litigation.
Wait just a minute. Mayor, before we do that, we've got Dwight here with us. Dwight, we spoke about your fly-in this weekend. You want to give, while we're streaming, give some more specifics about the military equipment and the aircraft specific? Yeah, if you would, so they can hear you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I guess a lot of our folks have gone on home, but for the streaming part, this Saturday, June the 17th, we're having a big event at the Calhoun Airport. This year being the 50th anniversary of the airport. We opened January of 1967. The airport opened up, so we've been here 50 years now. So we're having a larger and more special event this year for our flying activity that we normally have. In conjunction with the flying activity, which is kind of like a air show, we'll say. We don't have a sponsored air show like some places have, but we have a lot of aircraft flying in, much like a car show. I always explain to people it's like a car show, but of aircraft. And we're having a car show the same day at the same time in the front yard. One of the local church organizations is having a car show at the same time. And should be the biggest event we've ever had. We've had a lot of interest from some groups that have restored military aircraft to bring them this time. So we've got a group from the Commemorative Air Force down in Peachtree City, Georgia. They're bringing 4 or 5 different World War II aircraft. Museum of Flight out of Rome is bringing 3 of their military aircraft. The Army Aviation Heritage Group out of Hampton, Georgia is bringing a Huey and a Cobra aircraft, so 2, and numerous displays of military ground vehicles and implements will be there. So expecting a huge crowd. We just all got to hope for good weather. The current forecast looks okay on Saturday, but we've got numerous days in between now and Saturday. We've got to prepare the ground, so we just got to hope for, just scattered thunderstorms and not a total rain out. If it does happen, the plans currently is that all the related parties we're going to meet at 8 o'clock Thursday morning, and we're going to decide based on the best weather information we have at 8 o'clock Thursday morning where the event will be this Saturday or where it will move to the rain date of the following Saturday, which is the 24th, I think. So
I believe you're going to have free flights for children, first come, first served.
yeah, the Experimental Aircraft Organization, the largest pilots organization in the world, they have flown over 2 million children, giving them their introductory aircraft ride to this point. So that began in 1993, and now they've given 2 million children their ride. I've given a couple hundred myself. But anyway, children at the airport between ages 7 and, I'm sorry, let me get this right, between 8 and 17, between ages 8 and 17, on a first-come, first-served basis, will be able to get a free airplane ride that day. Got to have their parents with them, of course, and they'll be taken on by an experienced pilot and get their first aviation experience if they'd like to have it. That's Saturday at the airport, children between 8 and 17. And we're going to start that at 10:30 a.m., and we'll run them between 10:30 and 2. So, again, it's first come, first serve. So, please don't show up at 2:15 with a child that's ready for, because the line will get longer. We want to make sure we're going to do our absolute best to get every child a ride. And I talked with some other my airport guys today. If for whatever reason, if we have such a good turnout, we might not be able to get all the children on Saturday. We're going to give them all a rain check, and during the coming days and weeks, we'll get every little kid that shows up Saturday between those hours. We will get them an airplane ride. But if you get there as early as you can on Saturday, we'll get them in. In addition to that, and this information I've had it in the paper numerous times, been on all the Facebook sites. It's been the flyers have been handed out to all the city and county school children. There'll also be, like I say, a huge contingent of World War II aircraft And they will be providing rides in those. Now, those are not free by any means. You won't be getting a P-51 Mustang ride for free. But they will be available to adults that would like to pay an appropriate ride for a once-in-a-lifetime ride in a historic World War II aircraft. Those will be available, and that'll be through those historic organizations. Essentially, you make a donation to their organization for a substantial amount, and you get a ride that few people alive know what it's like now. So, in addition to that, the car show will be having hamburgers and hot dogs cooking all day, snow cone truck, funnel cakes, all that junk that you don't need, but we'll have it to enjoy. And we just plan on having a great day at the airport, a great celebration. We'd like for everybody to come out and just have a really good time with us. And we try to have this every year. We've tried to grow it every year and make it bigger and better. So we just want to increase the tradition. As I always tell, I had a group of the Jacket Jamboree children today, and I tell every group that comes in, the first thing I say to them is, ask them if they've been to the airport, and I say, I'm glad you've come to your airport, because if you live in Gordon County or the city of Calhoun, it's your airport. It belongs to you, and I'm just the guy that gets to take care of it. I'm glad you've come to visit your airport, and that's what we want on Saturday. We want people, I'm always disappointed to hear in the community that somebody says, oh, we have an airport. I'm always amazed at people that don't go south on I-75 and on 41 past Kroger, I guess, and don't realize we have an airport. So this is an opportunity to come out, see what it's like, make a friend, get you an airplane ride, have a good day at the airport, and come other times. Learn to fly. Our pilot population is declining every year because kids are too interested in video games instead of flying. Come into the airport, take it up, learn to fly. It's an awesome career opportunity that people are not seeking anymore. We're going to run out of pilots one of these days if kids don't take up mechanical stuff and learn to fly.
Thank you very much. And it is an awesome event, and hopefully the weather accommodates. So good luck to you with that. And there's once again a need for executive session. So do I have a motion to go into executive session?
For executive session for possible litigation.
And it's not age discrimination on not letting 46-year-old children get to fly in airplanes for free.
First come, first served. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much.